Hello wonderful person, this is Anton, and, well, once in a while I find a game that is absolutely incredible at doing several things, including teaching you about history, about science, about things in life that are maybe important. And once in a while I find a game that's very realistic and super fun to play. This is one such game. It's called Cold Waters, and it recently came out on Steam in, I believe, May or June of 2017, and really caught me by surprise. I used to love a lot of submarine games, and this is a game that is definitely going to capture my attention for quite a few days, possibly weeks, or maybe even months. Anyway, let's talk about this game in more detail, and welcome to What the Math. So what exactly is Cold Waters? It's actually a submarine simulator. The idea here is that you're playing as an American submarine and your job is to use very realistic science to try to eliminate the competition. It's highly recommended to go through the training here and to basically finish all of the 7 missions that will teach you how to control your submarine. Specifically the ones that teach you about tracking or target motion analysis and things like navigation and things like tactics and damage. Just as an example, let me show you one of these missions that teaches you how to use a cruise missile. So we're actually going to close the tutorial here, and I'm going to show you what this game is like in a nutshell. So you're always going to be playing in one of these submarines, either Norwal type or even 688 type. And you're essentially running this thing yourself, you're the captain, so all of the manual stuff that used to be present in these types of games has been kind of removed. But nevertheless though, if I basically tell my crew to start moving my ship, let's actually go flank, we're going to go full speed ahead, I can actually manually control this. I can press W and my submarine will go down. I can press D and my submarine will start turning right. So this is actually pretty cool, pretty impressive. So a lot more manual control than in the previous games, and here the graphics are pretty cool, the actual controls are very smooth, and you also get to kind of play around with various tactics that were not available in previous games. Like one of the coolest things that is present here is a very realistic maneuver that allows the submarines to get rid of the torpedoes that are following them. And I'll show you this in one of the next sort of missions where we'll try to face off against an actual submarine. But right now we actually have to try to get a little bit higher up, and we're going to launch some of the missiles that this submarine has to basically attack the enemy. But first, let's actually surface. Let's do like an emergency surface maneuver using full flank ahead. So here's what it looks like if you surface your submarines. It's a pretty cool sight. Anyway, so let's launch some missiles and let's see what it looks like when you actually do so. So right now we're at a depth of 50 to 70 feet. That's considered to be periscope depth, and we're going to slow down to about 1/3 of the speed, and we're also going to replace these torpedoes with something else. We're going to charge them with missiles. I'm gonna place 4 missiles here. These are cruise missiles. You can kind of check your stores and what you have right here. And the cool thing about this game is that it has a very, very extensive, very realistic tutorial that you access by pressing Shift F1. So there's actually quite a lot of explanation, quite a lot of reading, and a lot of it is actually kind of important for you to both learn the physics of marine warfare and how submarines actually attack things, and how sonar works, how, like for example, there's something called thermal layer and how that works and what it does. A lot of this is super essential for you to be successful in this game. And since I've actually learned most of this by playing other games, I actually do recommend playing this just so you can actually find out the science behind all of this stuff. So right now we need to identify ships so we can actually enable, or so we can actually establish a targeting maneuver for our torpedoes or for our missiles. If you're doing torpedo attack, you actually need to try to match this by using keys and by trying to match the signature that you see on the screen right here with what you have on top. Now, I believe these are surface ships, so there have to be, I think it's this. I think it's Andijan AP. So once you think that this is what this ship is, you basically press enter and it kind of establishes a target maneuver with maybe 39% solution accuracy. That's not very good. You should always aim for something higher. Now, to make this even better, since I know these are surface ships, I can either use my periscope that I can kind of raise by pressing. Oh, okay, I'm a little bit too deep. I need to come up a little bit higher for me to use the masts. It has to be at least 50 feet. So let's go higher. And instead of just using these planes that you can raise by using WASD, you can also use what's known as the ballast tank. This is something that is very unique to submarines. I can actually raise my ballast. It doesn't actually show here, but the ballast, what it does, it increases the volume of your submarine, thus making it go higher. So right now, I'm going to raise my ballast. It says right here, raise it by 5%. And this will, in turn, increase my depth by a little bit. I'm going to go to 50 feet. And there we go. So this is actually, if you've ever done scuba diving, this is what you do with scuba diving too. By increasing or inflating your vest, you go up, and by deflating your vest, you go down. So this is exactly what a submarine does as well. So let's raise our periscope, our radar, and all of our masts. They're going to be sticking out right here. And you can actually now go into the periscope mode and look around and find that target that we're looking for. I forget exactly where it was. I think it was bearing 346. So we need to go to 346. And oh, there they are. All right, so there's one ship. I think there's actually 3 ships, but I'm not entirely sure. Maybe there's just... Oh, no, there's another one. And there's the 3rd one. Perfect, we found them. So now that we actually have solution at 95%, we can launch our missiles, and they're actually loaded now. They're ready to track and seek the target. So we're going to go to the map here, find our targets. There's that antigen that I found. And now all we need to do is select a torpedo, press the spacebar, and it right away tells you that you can't launch them if it's too close. You can launch them from here. And we want to just launch them in the general direction of the target, and the blue square shows you where it's going to engage and start seeking the target itself. So you want to basically aim this somewhere here, for example, and there it goes. There is our missile, and as soon as it reaches that area, it's actually going to basically automatically engage and automatically seek the targets. So let's try this again. There's our second missile. So both of these will now start seeking the target, and basically there's the first explosion. We definitely hit the target, and let's actually look through our periscope. We're gonna try to find. And there's the second explosion. So both of the missiles were able to hit the targets. So this is essentially how the missiles work. We're gonna see if I can actually maybe use a missile camera to try to track one of them. And so you can see the ships actually started riding away, and this one is still alive. It's just damaged, so we can actually try to finish it up with one of the missiles. And let's launch one at this partisan guy. So here it comes, and there it goes. There is a missile flying toward the 3rd target, and that's the target right there. And looking from the missile's perspective, this is actually what it looks like. You're flying past these ships, and honestly, the graphics in this game are pretty impressive. And you're approaching this other ship. It's going to enable as soon as it gets close enough, and it's going to engage. It's sickening. There it is. It found the target, and boom. Pretty impressive. So this is kind of the idea behind the game. It does get a lot more complex. Like, for example, you have things like damage control here, where if you are actually damaged by something, you have to use repairs and try to basically repair your ship without, or repair your submarine without sinking. And of course, things like conditions that show you where these so-called thermal layer is, and if there's any ambient noise around you, which you always have to be aware of because you're in a submarine and noise is important. Now we're going to try the campaign mode because this is how you'll be playing this game, but unfortunately, as you can see, there's no multiplayer, which is a huge oversight on the developer's part. I wish this game had multiplayer because it would be so much fun to play against someone. But anyway, so there's 2 campaigns, and one is a little bit earlier where you'll be playing in a different submarine. This one is you're playing with 688 nuclear submarine. I believe it's the one of the most advanced attack submarines that existed for the past few years. Although maybe, just maybe, there's a better one now. This is a Los Angeles class. And so here we're going to accept a mission, and you'll always have these cutscenes that kind of show you a bit of a history, a bit of situations of what's going on, and all of this is actually based on real events that did happen, except that in this case, they escalate to the point where the war does break out. So this is a pretty cool game to learn a bit of a Cold War history and to kind of understand what's happening. Like, for example, this is an actual event that happened when the Soviet Union shut down a South Korean passenger plane, thinking that it was an American spy plane. Anyway, so the Reds attack Western Germany and they try to overtake NATO forces, and we have to try to stop them using our beautiful submarine, where you usually have some primary objectives, secondary objectives, and you have to try to both maintain your submarine, you have to rearm and repair, and also get new orders and follow them through as you go along. So we're right there, and we're going to go and move to a location where the submarine was actually detected. So what you can see right here are these gray lines. These are actual existing submarine sonars that try to detect Russian submarines and try to track them. And this is actually one of the ways that we were able to discover some of the coolest signals, underwater signals in the world, including in the so-called Big Bloop, which was detected in the Pacific Ocean, and we still don't really know what caused it, but it was a super loud noise that may have been a submarine, but more likely have been some sort of a very large animal. So we're gonna wait for the submarine near the Denmark Strait. I believe that's where we have to wait. Or we can actually try to attack the Soviet forces. Okay, so something engaged us. And so we see that there's actually a ship or a strike force right there. We're gonna go and try to sink a few ships using our beautiful submarine. So let's see if we can find them. Alternatively, we can also just go here and try to intercept something. Alright, so here we go. We're going to choose to approach them a little bit closer, and this is a contact designated Sierra 1. We're going to try to see if we can sink something. So here we go. All hands, battle stations. And we start at a depth of 900 feet, which is sort of like a safe cruise depth for a submarine. Let's go into the signature here and see if we can detect anything. We're moving really, really fast, so we actually have to slow down. But before I slow down though, I wanted to show you this really cool maneuver that exists in this game, that actually exists in real life too, but it has never existed in any of the previous submarine games. If you actually move to the right really quickly, you'll initiate what's known as a knuckle. Knuckle is displayed right here. This is how you can actually try to deceive approaching torpedoes. And knuckles are often used by actual submariners to try to create a kind of a wave pattern that will fool the torpedoes from following the submarine. But anyway, we're going to go into the silent mode, ultra silent mode as a matter of fact, and we're going to try to find targets. So here, we need to listen really carefully. We don't really know where those ships are, and so we might as well use an active sonar, which I just did, and we now have a new contact right here, S1 bearing 118. So we need to go to the left a little bit. And now they actually know that we're here. So basically, because I use my active sonar, I give away my position. They know we're here. They're going to be coming toward us. You can see that there's quite a lot of active sonar going on now, because that was probably a mistake on my part. In other words, never use active sonar as a submarine, because the whole point is that you're silent, nobody knows where you are. And now they do. Now they're gonna try to find us. So let's see who's looking for us. So I think one of them is this ship right here, Kashin DDG. This is probably a destroyer, and it's coming from, I don't know where, but it's definitely coming toward us. We're gonna actually go to the periscope depth and use our radar and try to launch some missiles at them. So let's go up to a depth of about 50 feet and use some of our missiles here that I believe we have. How many do we have? We have 4. Perfect. We need 4. And we're going to try to basically sink as many of these ships as we can and then return home. Now, because this is taking too long, I'm actually going to accelerate time a little bit. And we're going to advance time until we're actually relatively closer to the periscope depth so we can see what's around us and start launching things. And here's the mistake I made. I accidentally pressed the wrong button that actually released the ballast. And look what happens. They launch a torpedo at me right away. And we're about to receive the blunt of their force. It's actually not going to be very pretty. I totally pressed the wrong button. And this is totally going to be the end of our submarine. So this is actually how difficult the game is. You need to be super quiet. You need to be very smart when you play this game. And making a small mistake like this, like releasing your ballast, emergency ballast release basically, can cause your submarine to be destroyed completely. Which is, I think, what's going to happen now. Let's see if they actually can sink us. And here comes their torpedo. We're going to launch some countermeasures so that it doesn't actually detect us. We're also going to try to avoid it as much as we can, but it's definitely coming close to us. There it comes, and it missed. Perfect. 1 mission complete. Or 1 torpedo avoided. So let's actually go a little bit deeper. We're gonna be able to maybe survive if we escape this right now. And then we're gonna launch our own torpedoes and our own missiles at those ships. But essentially, this is why this game is so much fun. It's actually not easy at all. You have to always remember that, remember to be quiet, remember to be silent, and try to avoid being detected at all costs, which I definitely did not do a good job at. And these torpedoes can be actually very persistent. Unless you're really good at being silent and you can prevent even 1 torpedo from being launched, one of these torpedoes can make your life really miserable. So this is what's happening to me right now. I'm basically being consistently harassed by this torpedo that just won't leave me alone. So I've released a few noisemakers that will usually protect me a little bit. But at this point, I need to be really careful. Well, here goes nothing. There's actually 2 torpedoes now. And that might be the end of my ship. Unless I somehow can escape this? Oh, that was so close. That was really close. All right, let's try to go deeper. I think if I go deep enough, they won't be able to hear me anymore. And I might be able to escape this predicament. All right, so that was an explosion, but not at our ship, I believe. I think we're fine, right? Yeah, whole at 100%. So one of the torpedoes exploded, but did not damage us at all. So that was a pretty close encounter. Okay, this is not looking very good. I don't know how I missed this, but there is another torpedo coming my way. And it's very, very close to us. Oh, wow. We were able to survive this one too. This one I totally missed. I didn't even see where it was coming from. So, looks like we survived 3 torpedoes this time. And looks like we might actually still have a chance to attack the ships. And just because we have nothing to lose, let's just launch our own missiles at these guys. We're going to use everything we have, launch it at them, and basically then just run away from them. So here we go, ready, steady, and... Oh, it's too close. It's a little bit too close. Let's see if it works. Well, having launched all of my missiles at one of the ships, I'm now gonna try to get away from here as fast as I can. Things are really going badly for us. We're being shot at from every side. And I believe we have some damage now. Yeah, they definitely damaged our hull a little bit. Time to get out. And the problem is that my ballasts have not been re-established yet because I did that emergency ballast blow. And that was a huge mistake. Never do the emergency ballast blow when you're attacking another ship. But anyway, let's see if we can actually damage anything with anything. We're going to see how our missiles are doing. Any of them gonna strike anything? Maybe. And yes, we did it! We actually were able to destroy at least one of the ships. I don't know what this was, but I think this was some sort of a destroyer. Wow, well, good job, missiles, good job. So there's our only target we were able to damage, and I think this is a pretty cool way of ending this video. So this is a pretty interesting mission, very difficult mission. If I can actually get away and survive in one piece, that would be amazing. But chances are we might not be able to do so because everything is going to be looking for us now. Anyway, so that's the Cold Waters in a nutshell. A really cool, very realistic simulator that has a lot of really cool potential. Unfortunately, still lacking a few features like multiplayer, for example. And the fact that you only play with American submarines is also a bit of a disconcern, but I'm guessing this is where DLCs will come in and they'll probably release Soviet submarines later on as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and hopefully you learned something from this. And if you did, don't forget to subscribe, share this video with someone who enjoys watching various videos that are educational and wants to learn through video games. And if you want to learn about other games that are educational or amazing in other ways. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Space out. And as always, bye-bye. And I'm gonna try to get away from here as fast as I can. Oh no, here comes another torpedo. Oh, that's not good. That is really not good. I think my submarine might be finished. And they're right above us, but they can't hear us because we're way too quiet for them. I don't know if they'll be able to launch anything, but this is actually a good opportunity for me to launch my own torpedoes at them.